This is a discussion I would have had a long time ago, but I think this is the right time to have it. In case you don't know who Mercy Chinwo is, she is a gospel artist that was formerly signed to Easy Concept.
The first part of the music industry is the brand. The brand is not the song. Sometimes people do not know what the brand is. The brand is who you are.
For you to be watching this video, I believe you know who Mercy Chinwo is. Jesus, you love me too much, oh. So I could give you a couple of hits so you get to really understand the background of who I'm talking about. Now, formerly, she was signed to Easy Concepts record. You could see her former manager, or would I say controller, handler, whatever happens in a record level right there on your screen. Now, I'm going to be looking at this video in series, so this is just one part of it as we get to discuss her present with a Cameroonian artist, one of the most recognized gospel artists in Cameroon, Elizabeth Teke. Some of you may not have been aware, but being someone that has been in the conversation of Christian issues and dialogues, I got to find out that the video that trended about the person of Mercy Chinwo recently, about 3 weeks ago, where Father Olwoma spoke about her person, not directly, but mentioned her in a sermon where he was trying to give an example of how it is now that in Christianity, we have made things a little bit too expensive, that there is no sense of modesty and everything is more of like at a price, and where we have neglected the core essence of what Christianity itself should be, while we focus on the extravagant nature of what we have seen Christianity today as.
Cannot solve the problem that the poorest church ever solved. Greed, selfishness. We have become too selfish. A manifestation of the flesh. Carnality. When you talk about carnality, some people's mind will be going like carnality is people who cannot see vision. Nonsense. The works of the flesh is there mentioned in Galatians 5. Greed is one of them. Selfishness. Factions. How can this richest church ever not be able to solve the problem that the poorest church ever solved? Greed has been mentioned. The next thing is we have made Christianity expensive. We have made worship expensive. We build expensive churches. I am guilty. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. But since I gave my life to Christ, I've been talking against it. In a diocese, the biggest costly church should be the cathedral. That rhymes with our Jewish roots. If you go to Israel those days in the Bible time, what is the biggest worship place? It's not the temple. How many temples did they have in the whole nation of Israel? One in Jerusalem. Every other place, what you had was what? Synagogue. In every diocese, the costliest church, understandably, should be what? The cathedral. Every other parish should be modest and simple. Then the money should be channeled to other humanitarian activities. But we are competing now. Who has the beautiful, costliest church? You tell you how much there is in building some parishes. And the problem is not even from the priest. Problem is from parishioners. It's not just what the priest says. Some parishioners will not agree. At least from my own experience. They will not agree. No, Father, bring down the church, let's build another one. It's not under my watch. If the priest is not standing his ground, so now the priest is even standing his ground against his own will. And they don't like him. If you tell them this money now, let's use it and empower 50 youth, people will not bring out money. But when you say we're using to build church, because they believe that when they put their money in church, God will prosper them. I don't understand a church that will be judged by when I was hungry, you gave me food. He's not paying attention to that. God is not going to ask you how many churches you built. Why are we not getting this? Build modest churches. Modest. I'm not saying we should live in a ragtag. Build modest churches. And listen, in a place where hunger and poverty is endemic, expensive, exotic churches are an insult to God. In fact, it's a crime against charity and humanity. And I can hear God saying in Amos chapter 5, say, get away with your noisy chants. I don't care. We must champion this. Where hunger, poverty, and unemployment is still endemic, we have no business building multi-million-dollar churches. For what? We have made worship expensive. If I have to bring Mercy Chinwo to come here and minister to you guys now, you will like it. How much will I pay her? How much does a gospel artists of Mercy Chinwo's status charge to come to an event or in a church, how much do you think she will collect? 10. Oh, 10. It has reached 10 million. So I will now collect money from people. Because if Okoje sing Jesus, you love me too much, so Jesus not gonna love you too much again until it's Mercy Chinwo that will sing it. The too much in the love will go away until it is Mercy Chinwo that will sing it. These are the trajectories that we have turned Christianity to, that an artist will come to a church and lead in praise worship for 10 million naira, 5 million naira. So if that particular artist does not sing Jesus, you love me too much, that means God no love you too much. And some people are asking, should they be paid? Why would you pay them? If you must bring them, you must pay them. Because what you are bringing them for is entertainment. We have turned worship into what? Entertainment. We are copying the world. Those days, those who compose songs you are still using for worship, nobody even knows them. Now I have no problem with a church or this, maybe once in a year you organize some kind of praise worship. Do you understand? Once in a while you could do that. But that in Sunday worship, and sometimes you did, you forget those who play music for you an ordinary time, whom God have been using. As if you bring the artist and come down, so after singing that song, all your problems will go away. Or people will not go to heaven. Father's residence, the gadgets that the ministers are using, expensive, everything. And I'm ashamed saying this because I'm also guilty. But I think it's time all of us it's high time we started thinking and rethinking about it. If your parish now says, I want to set up a small, medium, scale something now, so that money from there will use it purely for charity. How many of you contribute enthusiastically as you would when you are told if you build for the Lord, he will build for you? But all I'm saying is the apostles filled with the Holy Spirit did not solve the problem of poverty, hunger, by kabashing, by anointing. What did they do? They took what? Strategic action. Whether it's the whole Christian as a community or a diocese as a community or parish, you must find strategic action. It is an insult on God that any member of any parish sleeps hungry, is clothed in rag, cannot afford basic hospital bills. It is an insult. It is a crime, and I'm sure God is recording it against us. And you are praying for them, anointing them, doing crusade for them.
Where Father Oloma, a Catholic priest, spoke number one in criticism against even the Catholic Church, if only you listen, and also criticize himself in the process, while he got to mention Mercy Chinwo not as a direct hit on her, but in the process, the audience were the one that gave him figures with regards to what Mercy Chinwo charges in regards to her ministry. I have to put that in quotes for now, as a gospel artist. Now, if you listen to that, even when I was listening to him, I was noting the key points, because I saw many people, so I watched a couple of videos of people making commentaries about that, insulting him and, saying that, oh, what he's saying is a lie and all that. But if you listen attentively to what he was saying, he was merely having an interaction with the audience, of which the audience were the one that fed him with the figures. Trust me, that figure is even more than that if you watch his video as we keep going. The church is not really all about the building, but actually building the people. So you could see there he made a very objective criticism and also put himself in the picture, which you rarely find preachers themselves preach and put themselves in the picture, because most times it's always like, okay, the one with the microphone is a perfecto, while others are the one that should be listening. But that is not the main point. That particular clip was trending because he mentioned the person of Mercy Chinwo and talked about 10 million naira being the charge for that. Now listen, Pastor Poju himself responded in a tweet and said that Mercy Chinwo recently ministered in his church at that time, and then she did not charge anything, but he honored her, or would I say, at his own discretion. That is amazing. You have to know that in the music industry, or the music ministry, which is a coining of the word mindustry, we are going to understand this word better when we go into the next part of this discussion. But on this particular part, you have to know that there are a lot of gospel artists. You could name about 3 or 4 gospel artists you know in the comment section. Let me know if you know any. And in the midst of all these gospel artists, there are a group of people that don't charge anything upfront before they go for a program or wherever they're invited. There are some that have a fixed amount of money that they charge before they come for your event. The ones that even don't charge before they come, even though they would expect to be honored, because when you use the word honor, it means 2 or 3 things. One would be financial honor. 2 would be that sense of recognition and respect and value of your person. But in this case, when we talk about honor, honorarium, or however you want to put it, there should be a little bit of a reward system, because it's human beings that are, making these things happen. For the ones that don't get to charge, whether they get to receive something or don't receive something, it's all more of like a principle for them. Later, we are going to be discussing the dichotomy of these people as we mention names and show you facts to that. But in this case right here, recently, about 3 months ago, there were news that Mercy Chinwo, even with her recent music video that was very, very explanatory, titled Confidence, she got to really explain her journey in the music industry and seemingly gave a mental picture of her situation, which more of like gave a representation of the fact that this might be the story of why she's no more with Easy Concept. But in my future videos, like the next 2 videos, I'm going to be looking at Easy Concept as a whole, being her manager. Why did I even start out this video by talking about Elizabeth Teke? The woman you see on your screen is a very top gospel artist from Cameroon. But you cannot compare her with the person of Mercy Chinwo when you look at numbers, when you look at streaming, when you look at attention. Like I always tell you, attention is currency. So she was preaching a message in a church where she was invited to sing over there in Cameroon, and she made a comment about the person of Mercy Chinwo. This is what she said.
God has really blessed African nations with the 5-fold ministries. But we need to work together to help these ministries. Spiritually, we need to help it. Financially, we need to help it. Materially, we need to help it. But we have a problem in Africa, especially in Cameroon, that we don't like our own. We don't honor our own. We talk down our own. We disrespect our own. We criticize our own. We are even killing our own. Cameroon will remain in pain until we all change our hearts. Is somebody listening to me? Last year March, they invited Mercy Chinwo here in Yaoundé on the 5th of March. They agree with her that they will give her 18 million. And then they called me on phone. I told them to give me 1.5 million. They shouted, "Oh, child, Elizabeth Teke don't start no money." So Nigeria, the way they collect 18 million, they don't know money. Number 1.5, where you have hide the fat for this so. You see this truth that God, by His mercy, is giving me every day to preach it out through songs. Do you know that there are many people that smiles with me, they don't like me? I don't care about you. You are not the one who called me. You are wasting your time. You are beating about the bush. Any other man of God that God has raised in this generation that is speaking the truth, and you have decided to hate them, something is wrong with your senses.
Now, the reason why she made that comment was she was talking about the fact that Cameroonians do not honor their own. Apparently, she was just trying to explain to them or to the audience in that particular church why Cameroonians do not honor their own, and then they don't get to sponsor and then, cater for their own. And in doing so, she has a special gift that she could actually make up a song with anything she wants to talk about in a message form, but singing to it, like you see in the video. And I asked myself a question. As of last year, March, Mercy Chinwo was still with Easy Concept. Now ask yourself a question. Easy Concept was the record label that Mercy Chinwo was under. more of like her talent manager. She has been under them or working with them for a long time. If she is in the industry, you are going to understand that future as we get to discuss about this topic. And she was charging 18 million. Now, 18 million in CFA. It's not just all about we talking about how much, but think about her to be given 18 million, or would I say what she was demanding. 18 million, according to what Elizabeth Taker herself said, that should be about almost 22 million naira if it's in naira or something. So you could look at the 18 million in naira and tell me what amount it is. Look at it in dollars. That was as of last year. And ask yourself a question. When we look at music artists or musicians that get to charge for them to minister, was Mrs. Chinwo as of last year, to the point that it was used as an example, was Mrs. Chinwo charging as of last year because of label she was under? Was it part of a requirement for her label that she's under that she would have to charge in that manner? Don't forget, the person that runs Easy Concept is a businessman. I'm going to be discussing about his person in detail as we go on so that you get to understand the music industry. But for you to really understand the music industry, you have to also understand the synergy between the music ministry. I use the word ministry in quotes because there's a debate around the fact if music itself is a ministry or not a ministry. So music industry, the synergy with the music industry, whether secular, gospel or whatever, with music ministry in the sense of Christianity. Because it could be inferred that Mercy Chinwo had a price tag on her person, probably because she is under a record label or she is working with a management. So it's more like a requirement. And I'm going to be giving you a reason why I am saying that in our next video. But the real essence of this particular conversation in this video right now is to look you in the face and ask you a question. As we go on, there is a debate right now on the internet. Many pastors have come out and said why music ministers should not charge. Some are under support for it. We are going to be looking at that extensively. But looking at what this other gospel artist said, that even her herself was demanding for 1.5 million in CFA, I would say, compared to 18 million. Think about that for a moment. That's a huge margin. But again, you have to know that comparing both of them, I don't think you might even know a song by the woman, but Mrs. Chinwo commands a lot of attention. And understanding itself, her attention and her personality, for those who are organizing the program, it's also huge traffic. And that's why most times when events like this are organized with the face tags and the flyers and all that with the brands, you get to see as we go on, we get to discuss about, you know, being in music, being a brand and all that. You get to see that when you become the catch point or the center of attraction or attention, your value also becomes higher. So when I saw Elizabeth Taker comparing herself to Mrs. Chinwo, Mrs. Chinwo herself has put in the work. This is someone that has been into a bit of acting. This is someone that was a winner of Nigerian Idol. She wasn't a Nigerian Idol singing gospel songs. She was singing all of the secular songs you can ever think of. But after winning it, she decided to go into gospel music. So already in her mind, already she understands the profitability that comes with music. Like those in Easy Concept to say, impact balanced with profit. But we are going to be looking at that much later. Imagine last year, her having to be in Cameroon, there was a fee, at least from someone that is a gospel minister, of 18 million CFA. which you have to convert to Nigerian currency, and think about how much that is. I don't know if you get it. But if Pastor Poju is now saying currently that Mercy Chinwo sang in his church and did not get to charge anything except for what he decided to give, what happened? Is it because Mercy Chinwo herself is not part of that record label she was part of? That is why she could go somewhere and minister without demanding for a particular amount upfront? Or is it that when it comes to her person and how she gets to work as a music minister, or would I say the entertainment part of music, that there is more of like a flexibility? Not everyone gets to be charged, not everyone gets to be told bring this amount or something, but everything happens